In the mountains of northern New Jersey, just shy of the New York border, lie the remains of a town whose history dates back over 200 years. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of View Jersey, everybody. Today I'm in West Milford exploring Long Pond Ironworks State Park. I started my day at the park office and visitor center. I had been to Long Pond before, but the visitor center was closed that time, so I wanted to stop in and check out the small museum inside. The museum had several displays with historic photos and information along with many cool artifacts collected from the village grounds. I also had the pleasure of speaking with two of the park employees at the museum who gave me some more info on Long Pond, and we swapped stories about visiting some of our favorite spots in the state. After the museum, I started making my way through the village towards the site of the old furnaces. While I show you my walk through the historic village, I'll share a bit on Long Pond's history. Long Pond Ironworks State Park preserves the ruins of an 18th century iron-making plantation established in 1766 by German ironmaster Peter Hasenclever. This site grew into a thriving industrial community over the next century. The iron furnaces ceased production in the late 1800s amid the rise of modern steelmaking, but the post-industrial village endured through farming, ice cutting, and recreation. Today, the old country store serves as a museum, and historic trails wind past stone walls, water wheels, and furnace remains, offering visitors a window into the rise of early American industry and the lives that shaped it. So we've reached the site of the old iron blast furnaces, these ruins right behind me here. Obviously, the name of this place being Long Pond Ironworks, iron production was hugely significant to this settlement, and the iron made here was used by the Continental Army, the War of 1812, and even the Union Army in the Civil War. But, as cool as these ruins are, I think the way that they powered these blast furnaces is even cooler, so I'm going to go show you that. This is one of the giant water wheels that was used to power the iron blast furnaces. What they would do was the water on the Wanacue River, which is right back here, would spin these giant wheels, and the power that was generated they would use to raise the heat in the blast furnaces hot enough to melt the iron to liquid. Anybody ever tries to tell you New Jersey isn't beautiful? Take them up to Long Pond Ironworks State Park. Or the Pine Barrens, or down by the bay, or any of the other places I've showed you. Alright, now that I've taken you through the village and to the site of the old iron furnace, I'm going to head back to where I parked by the visitor center museum area, and I'm going to head to the other side of the Wanacue River across the Land Bridge Road there. We're going to check out another trail. So we've crossed over to the south side of the Wanacue, and the next area I'm going to be showing you is Monk's Trail. Monk's Trail is marked by white trailblazes. It takes you alongside of the river here, up around a small mountain, and also it takes you by the site of an old mine. So let's get to it. Getting up to the rocky ridge here that takes you towards the top now. Just wanted to stop and appreciate how cool this is. Sort of hard to get on film from this angle, but you'll see it as I go up. This is probably the most difficult part of the trail, just getting up this ridge, but it's really not too bad. So after you reach the top of the mountain here, it levels out for a while. And if you look off to your right, there's a white blaze, but it also has a star on it. You want to take that to the right and follow it up because it brings you to a really nice scenic overlook. All right, so we made it to the scenic overlook here. Trying to get rid of my farmer's tan, and my shirt's like wearing a wet bag right now, but moving on. At the scenic overlook, like I said, when you reach the top, the trail starts to level out, and then eventually you'll see a white blaze with a star on it to the right. Take that out here so you can come here and overlook the river below and take in this beautiful sight. You don't want to miss it. All right, so we made it to the site of the old iron mine. I'm pretty sure that this is the old Winston iron mine, which was operational from around 1830 to 1900. Obviously, what they would do, pull iron out of the ground here, bring it back to the village. What you saw earlier with the blast furnace and all that, they would melt it down to make different parts out of iron. I'm not going to get too far down in here because, as you can see, the ground's been caving in over the years for, a good 200 years almost. And when I was at the visitor center earlier, the guy told me that there were these kids out here in like the 60s, I think, because there's various sites of old mines out here, and they were walking around. It was just after a rain, and the ground was loose, and it just completely caved in, and one of the kids got buried by like multiple tons of soil, and they never got him. So, that being said, I'm a little bit heavier than a kid, so I don't want to mess around with getting too far down into this thing, but I will show you around, and just over this little ridge here, there's another entrance, so I'll show you that too. Let's check it out. Alrighty, so I was heading back to the parking lot, wondering if I should try and squeeze some more stuff in before I get out of here, or if I should come back for a part 2, because there's plenty more to see here, but I think we covered most of the highlights and notable places. And as I was thinking about that, there was a huge crash of thunder. Then I looked at the clock and realized I'm running out of daylight, so I'm going to wrap it up here for today and definitely come back for a part 2 sometime. But we've seen most of the highlights with the village and the old mine and the mountaintop scenic views, Monk's Trail. We got to see quite a bit. So, got some thunder rumbling off in the distance. So, thanks for tuning in to another episode of View Jersey. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. I think we only need like 2 or 3 more subscribers to reach 500, so I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the bell if you haven't already done it yet. We're also on TikTok at View Jersey and Instagram at View_Jersey, so follow us there too, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks again.